Hey everyone. So today I wanted to introduce the idea or talk a little bit about the idea of the difference between healing and symptom relief. Often we conflate the two, especially when we're thinking about, well, how do we know when it's time for therapy to be done? How do we know if therapy has been effective and when do we say goodbye? And this was prompted by a couple conversations I had today around a particular client who is working on changing behaviors, and is very open to that, and in fact has already had some success. We've only met a few times, but he's already sort of changed his ways a little bit, and his wife is pleased with that, and he's sort of thinking, hey, we're in good shape. But there's been very little interest or discussion, exploration around what led to the problematic behaviors in the first place. And so in speaking with my colleague about this particular situation, I was reminded that just because a symptom goes away, and a symptom being usually whatever it is that brings us into therapy in the first place, if it's a troubling, say, feeling like anxiety or depression or something like that, or if it's what I see more often in the family and marriage fields of relational distress, right? We're fighting more, or we're not getting along, or we're not enjoying each other's company. When those things start to feel a little bit better, or maybe the bickering starts to go away, or maybe it's a little easier to communicate, we think, oh, well, we've fixed it and we're in good shape. But if we haven't explored what led to those patterns in the first place, if we're not exploring and learning more, gaining some insight around the underlying assumptions and beliefs that feed the symptoms, we likely have more work to do. Now, that doesn't, you can choose not to do it, and maybe you can live a little bit more happily with just the relief from symptoms. But if you're really looking for healing, if you're looking for sustainable change that you can maintain over time, if you're looking to really root yourself in beliefs that will sustain you regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whether your spouse is cooperating, or regardless of whether things are going well at your job or school or things like that, I would really encourage you to open yourself up to the deeper work of beginning to understand what's going on at the root. And we talk about root causes all the time, but I love just the simplicity of the principle that what takes root will bear fruit, right? That's a very scriptural concept. We see it over and over again in the Gospels and in the Old Testament, in the Psalms, and the major prophets. They talk about what we're rooted in will bear fruit in our lives, in the way that we live. And so paying attention to the beliefs that we foster, those assumptions, those values, really, really matters in terms of doing deep healing work. So I hope that's helpful for you. I think it can be important to remind ourselves that that symptom relief is probably just the very beginning, but it's not the end. And often there's much more work to be done, and much more insight and discovery to be had if we're willing to go a little deeper. So I hope that's helpful, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.